have standards. Be polite. Be efficient. Have a plan to kill everyone you meet.
Hey gang, hope you guys are doing well, having a lovely day. Today we're taking a nice close look at Cyte-09, one of my favorite frames in the entire game. Before we get started, don't forget to like, subscribe, all that BS. I am currently running a giveaway for next week, platinum giveaway, and also if you comment a video idea in that video, the one with the most upvotes will be made into a real video. So hopefully that's exciting for you guys. Thank you so much, and let's get started. So Cyte-09 is the categorical sniper Warframe. He rewards consistent precision gameplay, good movement, good positioning, a little bit of planning, and deals some of the most insane YouTube thumbnail damage I've seen in my entire life. I mean, we're talking like we're shooting through like 20 meters of concrete, we're dealing elemental damage, any kind we want, just on command, instantly reloading, so that doesn't have to be accounted for at all. We're permanently invisible as long as we're landing headshots, and the damage with his exalted sniper is absolutely just the stupidest word I can't say in the first 5 minutes of a YouTube video. Anyway, this frame is so insane. When I made my Ivara guide, I had to kind of accept that that frame is quite underrated, and I had to sell it to you guys. When it comes to Cyte-09, this frame is so beyond strong that I just can't wait to showcase it. So hopefully you guys enjoy, like, subscribe, and let's jam. Cyte-09's passive is honestly probably one of the most underrated parts of his kit. Every headshot kill, weak point kill that Cyte-09 gets, he stacks up crit chance on further headshots. So you'll notice the neutralizer icon there is going up. Practiced aim, it's called, is going up for every headshot kill I get. This stacks up to 300 and represents critical chance on weak point kills. Once you get max rank, it is damn near a primary acuity. So it's pretty strong, and there's no guarantees you're gonna always get it stacked up to 300. But it is still pretty strong and something you should take into consideration, but doesn't really require any active effort to maintain. Cyte-09's first ability is called Seek. Cyte places a scanner on the ground that fires out detection waves at a 75-degree angle for a duration. When an enemy is hit by the wave, they're revealed, just like this, and their weak points are scanned in this color. When you have a scanner up, and you can have up to 3, you actually gain meters of body and terrain punch through that scale with your power range, which is really absurd, as we'll see in a moment here. As you see, the scanner just pulses out. Even if an enemy isn't within this initial range here, they can walk out for a bit and they will remain scanned, which is quite strong. Notice that their headshot, their weak point spot is highlighted like this. Also note that when you when you form a Warframe, you gain an additional energy color you can apply. For here, I have the 2 energy colors, so it looks actually kind of like a real thermal scope. We're about as close as I can get. So their crit point is red, and as you see, the scanner has decayed away, and their silhouettes are green. So Seek is really, really strong, and we're going to take a look at that terrain punch through. So enemies are highlighted. They will now take additional weak point damage, which is pretty strong, and that scales with power strength. But as you can see, I'm way back here. We'll just go all the way back here behind this wall, and yeah, I can tap away at enemies all the live long day from behind this wall. Like, that is, when they said they were going to release a sniper frame, I was concerned, because Warframe's map design is not exactly conducive to snipers, nor is like the whole looter shooter genre kind of as a whole. And yeah, you can just shoot enemies from effectively wherever you want on the map. So yeah, quick breakdown: you place the scanner. While you have a scanner up, you gain terrain and body punch through. That scales with your power strength. Additionally, you will deal additional damage to scanned enemies, additional damage to their weak points. So Seek is incredibly good, and when we take a look at the build, we'll see just how we can optimize it. Cyte's second ability is called Resupply. So all we'll do here is tap 2, and it'll throw out these ammo packs. Initially, they will start as random. So as you can see, we've reloaded our Paragel with gas rounds. We have a heat round mag here and a cold round mag here. If we hold 2, however, or the second ability key, we can either do last selection, random, or pick whichever we want. Random is there by default, and that's what it'll be on its own. But generally, we're gonna want to pick whatever element. If we're against Corpus, we can pick Toxin. We just have so many options here. Generally, the choices I will go for are Blast, Electric, or Gas. Likewise, these rounds have additional just straight up bonus damage as well. That damage bonus is also doubled if you're using a sniper rifle, whether that's just a sniper rifle like the Paragale, or in the case of pulling out the Cyte's Exalted Sniper Rifle, which I'll show you in a second, gets really strong. One quick note is that Incarnate weapons can't use these rounds properly. I believe, when they're in Incarnate form, that is. I believe there's an exploit that lets you do it. However, I'm not going to have Digital Extremes take me out back and neutralize me IRL. So I won't be showing that here because that's probably an exploit. But basically, the sum of it is you get these rounds that do an additional instance of elemental damage. You gain bonus damage on the round, and if you're using a sniper, that bonus damage is then doubled. So I'll equip blast rounds here in my Paragale, and let me actually, there we go, okay. You do have to sometimes expend the round. As you can see, I was shooting the Paragale before to showcase Cyte's passive, and now I have blast rounds, and those enemies vanished pretty quickly. So this resupply is generally underrated. Your teammates aren't always going to pick up your ammo packs, and that's totally fine. But the ability to instantly reload, especially a weapon like the Paragale, which you want to keep up most of the time, but if I whiff, look at that reload. If I whiff my shots, that reload is abysmal, but in this case, if I just tap my 2, it's instantly reloaded. My teammates can also pick up these magazines if they decide they want to use them. Resupply is amazing. Also note that Resupply takes up what is considered the Roar slot, so you can't use Zelda's Whisper, Roar, and what's the other one? I totally forget. But basically, yeah, it takes the slot that Roar normally would. So you can't equip Eclipse. There it is. Eclipse, Zelda's Whisper, Roar. That's why when we look at Helminth options, we are going to be robbed of some really strong synergies, unfortunately. In regards to what elements to choose on Resupply, I did mention before that Blast, Gas, and Electricity are going to be my personal favorites. Of course, you can run Heat if you want, you can run Viral if you want, but I do run Nourish on one of my slide builds, so that's not necessary. But basically, to explain, Gas and Blast achieve similar effects in terms of making non-AoE weapons AoE. The gas clouds left behind by Gas, and the blast explosions by Blast. I would say Gas generally does really great on the Neutralizer due to the ricochet effect, but Blast does really great on the Paragale, I've noticed. Both are quite strong, but they show, in my testing, relatively similar levels of consistency. Electricity and Heat would be, and primarily Electricity, are for the single target damage. If you have either some other method of AoE or you're in a group, so your priority is just killing the strong targets, you have no reason to be killing a bunch of ads, right? So just keep that in mind. Those are going to be the 3 options that you want to take, but those are the situations in which you would take them. Cyte-09's third ability is Evade, and it's a little bit of a mouthful, but bear with me here. So we do this little hop backwards like so, and we're going to kickstart our shield regeneration and cleanse ourselves of all statuses. This is incredibly good, and we're totally invisible. For every headshot kill we land, or weak point kill nowadays, as you can see, that duration refreshes itself down there next to Evade. It's both in the bottom right and in the upper right. This allows us to keep Evade up what is essentially indefinitely, up to a cap. So there's a built-in cap, which I'll probably reach right here as I shoot through these enemies. I just picked up some extra blast rounds, oh boy. Anywho, I'll just show you this way. So with Evade here, we've got a max duration that scales with duration. Likewise, the duration per weak point kill also scales with duration. Likewise, for every kill we get, we actually heal. This unlocks some decent synergies with like Combat Discipline, Archon Intensify, Arcane Avenger, that are a little less popular nowadays, but if you have some sort of setup that needs you to heal, then it's totally an option, but I personally don't find it to be the most useful. It lets you heal from a Toxin proc, which can be nice. Likewise, when Evade expires, as you can see here, it didn't happen, but so 12 seconds is my duration on Evade. Now a cooldown has kind of started, right? So when this expires, it should be around a 48-second cooldown because the initial casting, yeah, there we go, 48 seconds, because the initial time was whatever. Anyway, math is hard. Okay, so basically the 60-second cooldown for Evade begins on cast. So obviously your goal should be to keep it up indefinitely. However, your real goal is to keep it up for your base duration, say 15 seconds for example, and an additional 45 seconds. Anything that equals 60 means you'll be able to cast it for free easily with no sweat. When evade goes down, it is going to feel like buns. It's going to feel really awful. So your goal should be to maintain it properly, and the best way to maintain it properly, usually the problem with evade is likewise is Cyte-09's subsume ability that he can give to other Warframes. Those frames can struggle with keeping evade up. Cyte does not struggle in the same way because he can use seek to get to kills that his teammates cannot get to initially. Very, very big deal. So keep evade up, because if you don't, this is really Cyte-09's main way of staying alive. It's really unfortunate, but it's an incredibly good one. Don't get me wrong. Just if it drops, you're gonna feel like awful. So make sure, you know, if you want to take some time in aim labs, CS:GO, Valorant, whatever wherever you get your kicks, just make sure you're not missing those headshots. They're really important. One thing I could suggest is to run a secondary with the fortifier, secondary fortifier, and build that up a little bit, so that way if you just have bad aim, which is totally okay, no judgment here, you'll be able to kind of chill out, have some time where evade is down, but let that overguard from fortifier keep you alive. So yeah, evade, just land headshots, stay invis, heal a little bit, real trimple, just an amazing ability overall. One of the again, invisibility, cut and dry, second best survivability mechanic in the game. There you go. Alright, we're on to the big boy, baby. Here we have the neutralizer, or neutralize as the ability's called. We've got one big ass sniper rifle, 2 firing modes, 3 scope options, and 4 bloodlines ended per round of ammunition. This thing is the sickest. Let's get started. So first thing is obviously we have 3 scope options, and every time we scope in, you guys I'm sure are familiar with this, in Warframe, scoping in is difficult, right? It limits your vision. However, it increases the critical damage that snipers offer. Scoping in is done with middle mouse on mouse and keyboard. Likewise, if we alt fire while we're scoped out, we'll fire this little cryo grenade with pretty solid range. I'm not sure that it scales with range or not, to be totally honest with you. This is valuable because when enemies are frozen, their critical damage multiplier is increased. So that's why that exists. It's not only for the CC, it's not only, to just hold them down so they can be more easily headshot, it's also just a ton of extra damage that you have access to. Additionally, every round you fire, when you land a weak point, will actually ricochet around and find other weak points, allowing you to just kill everything. It is so disgusting. Neutralizer looks cool, sounds cool. Everything about this weapon is so sick. I'm such a fucking soy jack over this weapon, man. It is so sick. Just the damage, the sound design, like the way it actually functions. Again, when it was leaked that this was going to be a sniper Warframe, I'm like, I don't know how they're going to pull it off besides explosive rounds. The ricochet is enough for me, man. It is so sick. Again, I'll just do one more little, I'll actually use my abilities this time around. And look at that. Huh? They're just falling over and dead. Huh? That's beautiful. That's amazing. And of course, the reload speed doesn't matter because you have resupply. Amazing. We'll have a little bit of a conversation about how to mod it properly, because there's a huge conversation about acuity later down the line, but just know that this weapon, base stats, amazing. Gimmick, if you want to call it that, amazing. Neutralizer is awesome, and if you love snipers, just get Cyte-09. Oh my god, it's just so fun. Looking at HELMINTH options for Cyte, there are a lot. This frame does not need them. I will say that. You've got survivability through evade, so a lot of options get knocked out that way. Your damage is already absolutely absurd, and you also can't run roar without removing resupply, and you trust me when I tell you, you do not want to remove resupply from this Warframe. So a couple of options that I found to be quite strong. Breach Surge, I know, pretty normie. The only debuff to it would be that you have to, first of all, you'd have to get kind of closer to enemies, especially if you're not modding enough range, which as Cyte is quite unfavorable, but there's playstyles with Cyte that definitely let Breach Surge pop off. Absolutely. The only issue to me would be that there's actually a damage cap on Breach Surge that I only recently learned about. And for Cyte, he's damaged, like he would be hitting that damage cap over and over, and you just wouldn't really get the same kind of mileage you'd want to get out of Breach Surge. Nourish, the usual you know, from Grendel, the usual. I run Nourish quite often on this frame. It's very comfortable. The energy really helps with being able to recast, resupply, recast, seek, and again, Neutralizer does consume energy per bullet, so it's important that I always have energy on me. With my setup, you'll see why I prefer Nourish, but it's overall not like prefer anything. Shock from Bolt with Shock Trooper is insanely strong. It gives you another instance of damage on top of, you know, I told you, you run electricity, gas, or blast. Now you can run blast plus shock, which gives you blast plus electricity. Absolutely absurd. In that kind of same vein, we have Thermal Transfer with Thermal Sunder from Gauss. Incredibly good. But my favorite one so far that I've played, and one that unfortunately I can't do a demonstration of today, but I might make a video on it in the future, just because of the helmet slot that it takes up, is actually Webbed Embrace from Araxia. This is such a fun option. It feels very much, because when Araxia throws Webbed Embrace, she kind of throws it like a grenade, and that like fits within Cyte-09's aesthetic so well, and they're tied down. It's so sick. The build has to be adjusted because of the diminished range from the Helminth, and you know, you'll need a little bit more duration, more range, but trust me, and like less strength, because you're spam casting on Cyte-09, which you usually don't do. Usually you cast like a couple seeks, some resupplies. I guess it depends on your playstyle, but for me, I don't spam cast, so I don't need energy efficiency. With this 50 energy ability, you do have to pivot the build a little bit, but oh my god, if you haven't tried Webbed Embrace Cyte-09, it is like, it's so fun. It's a wet dream, like tactical player LARPing. It's super fun. Anyway, we're taking a look at the builds, but just be aware that Cyte-09 just does not need Helminth at all. Like, he is in the S tier in terms of frames that just don't need help from the Helminth system at all. Alrighty, taking a look at builds, I've got 3 of them for you today. One is no Helminth, one is Webbed Embrace, which is a little bit of a work in progress, admittedly, and one is Nourish Weapons Platform, where I use the Paragale instead of Neutralizer. So first we'll look at the no Helminth one. Worthy Camaraderie, this can be replaced by, again, if you're using Evade, you can opt for the Combat Discipline, or you can opt for Growing Power here as well. It matches the polarity. Worthy Camaraderie just makes perfect sense to me. You could make the case that with Acuity and with Cyte-09's passive and Camaraderie, you're kind of getting like diminishing returns on crit chance, but I also have a lot of crit damage, so it feels pretty well balanced. Power Drift here, this can be Cunning Drift just as equally. Really doesn't matter, whatever. Excellence is basically quality of life at the end of the day. Blind Rage, we want the strength, we don't care for the efficiency because we're not spam casting, but Streamline is here to counteract a little bit because the cost per round we don't want to get too high, so we do use Streamline in there to counter it out a little bit, similar to just we want to cast Resupply often, and we don't want it to cost too much. And Seek as well. We don't want to cost too much, so that's why we do the Streamline in here to offset the Blind Rage. Transient Fortitude, again, strength, good. Like, not think much. Many, you know, why do many word? Few word do trick. Power Strength, caveman shit. We just want to be really strong. The duration is important on Cyte-09, but it's not the world. Seek has insanely good base duration. The base numbers on Evade are quite solid as well. And we can also, again, we can keep it up with constant headshots. And when we're talking about Neutralizer, Neutralize also, the rounds ricochet to weak points. So we're just constantly, if we're playing Cyte-09, even remotely well, to be honest, duration just shouldn't be an issue. To me, 128% has been enough, but if you decide Transient Fortitude doesn't work for you, that's totally okay. Rolling Guard is here because we can't recast Evade to cleanse status effects once we're already in Evade. So Rolling Guard allows us to kind of dodge key attacks, Xmas things that catch us off guard. I think it's really great. You'll see it in my companion. I actually run the Worm Prime as well with Negate on there in case something happens, but companions, you can run whatever you want. I just thought I'd mention it. Stretch is really strong here. It's mainly just for Seek and for the ricochet distance. If you want to, there's a lot of switching around here. Like Streamline could be easily replaced with Augur Reach, and then you could pivot into like certain shards to make up for differences. But to me, the base distance of Seek, it's 60. So with just Stretch, it goes up to 87 meters. And with 14.5 meters of terrain punch through. So this is enough for me, but other site builds might even want overextended. It really doesn't matter at the end of the day. Mod how you want. And then in terms of just strength, we have Intensify and Secrets. So nothing really like insane here. this is where you can change up your augments or your arcanes quite a bit. Crepuscular is going to go on every Cyte-09 build as far as I'm concerned. It's just really, really strong on the frames that can run it. Here, you can run a variety of things. I run Augmented because I like it, but you can also go something like Rage, which is that primary damage on Headshot. That would be really strong. You can run Hot Shot and then actually use Resupply Heat Rounds if you decide to do that. Although Crit Chance, that's a little bit of overkill. Efficiency, totally viable. There's a ton of options for that second arcane, and quite frankly, you could replace Crepuscular if you wanted to as well. The build here is very similar, except we're able to more comfortably sacrifice our range for duration. That's because we're running Nourish instead of that Neutralizer, and we use the Paragale. The Paragale is incredibly strong with Cyte-09 because it gains ammo efficiency, which means we can make those rounds, and I probably will show this in the demonstration, but we can make our rounds go a lot further because the Paragale's Gale Force passive on headshots gives you ammo efficiency, so you can keep shooting blast rounds, which makes Resupply's energy cost go so much further. I will probably show that in the, actually, I could really use our max rate power drift here. What am I doing? It makes that, 63, 77 energy, whatever that it costs to cast Resupply go so much further. And Nourish also makes it much easier to cast. The Webbed Embrace thing here, it's a bit of a work in progress. Please share your webbed. I do firmly believe this build is insane because you're getting multipliers from Seek, multipliers from Resupply, multipliers from Webbed Embrace, as well as like another source here. And this is with the Paragale. You could technically take Webbed Embrace instead of Seek, but the only ability I ever feel comfortable removing on Cyte-09 is Neutralizer. I just don't. If you're not using Seek, you're not playing Cyte. That's my opinion. It's quite heavily opinion, it's a heavy opinion, it's a hot take, but I just don't think you should be playing Cyte if you're not going to use like the Seek shit. And in terms of the shards here, the purple primary electricity damage shard is really good. I will show my Neutralizer build in just a second. Just be aware that if you are building I built electricity on my Neutralizer, I believe. I guess we'll double check. Just know that this will combine with mods, which is annoying. We have some ability strength, and then we have energy max. This is pretty big. You might have to run flow on your build because I have 2 Tau Forged energy maxes here. As you can tell, I really like Cyte-09. Looking at my Neutralizer build, Acuity. Acuity is a little bit, also Hunter's Munitions you don't technically need. This build is just I enjoy this build. This build has done a lot for me. This mod, Note Sharpshooter, very underrated. Basically, if you land a headshot kill, you actually profit energy with my current Neutralizer build. My current Neutralizer build costs about 12 energy per round, so if I land a headshot kill, I gain 2 energy back. That's pretty, and this isn't even max rank yet, and also my build is very negative efficiency, but note that it's a pretty strong mod, really underrated, really good for Cyte. Same with Spectral Serration, Invisible, a ton of base damage. Primary Acuity. So is multi-shot or Acuity better is a long discussion that I'm not going to have today. My opinion is that multi-shot is better, both for sniper combo statuses. I just don't care. I just don't care. Acuity has the most dopamine. This is like one of the highest dopamine mods you can have. I enjoyed the precision gameplay. I'm already aiming for the head. I'm going to keep rocking. I believe that even if you are aiming for the head, I do believe Galvanized Chamber is just better, but I just don't care. So if you want to run that, absolutely knock yourself out. But Acuity is that is my religion. So I'm going to be going with that. Focus trees, Xenoric, Madurai, there is no wrong choice here. Vazarin for excess survivability, trademark. Xenoric for the energy, Madurai for the power strength. They're all great options. Don't sweat it too much. My secondary here, I use the Furious with secondary Fortifier. This just lets me be safe even in evade. I have no way of status immunity. Say my rolling guard goes down. You don't really need a secondary that bad on Cyte, so Fortifier here. You can also run the Grimwire here. It's just this little Fear skin, or this pistol skin, matches the aesthetic really well. And then Ceramic Dagger I keep on me for close quarters, and I will also obviously stack its Incarnon, the gun and blade. And so if something gets a little too close to me, I will blow its brains out with a nut. That doesn't make sense. Anyway, I'll use Ceramic Dagger if something gets too uncomfortably close. So I guess we can look at my Paragale build here. Even though I did show it in the Ivara video, this is it. This is my Riven. It's really good. You can replace the Riven with something else, but I love my Riven. This is probably my favorite gun in the entire game, so, you know, ignore me on that regard. I am going to now make a jump cut and talk I'm going to allow myself a single minute to talk about this broken ass SOBEK build, because I know somebody's going to mention it. I think it's a bastardization of Cyte-09, because he's awesome and he's a sniper, but we have this build that Saren and Zaku and Frost and whatever can do with the SOBEK. Start the timer now.
Hey guys, what's up? It's me, Turbo Monk here. I'm showing off this insane Cyte-09 build tech. It uses acid shell SOBEK build. It's really strong. I apply an additional instance of electricity to each acid shell's explosion using resupply. It's really strong, really novel. Never seen this tech before.
I'm kidding. If this is how you enjoy playing the game, that's totally fine. This is using the Nourish build, which isn't exactly a free thinker's build in the first place. So, this is not how I enjoy playing Cyte, but it is a really strong setup. So if you know, I don't mean to judge. I'm allowed to poke fun, but no judgment here. If that's just how you enjoy playing Cyte, man, absolutely knock yourself out. And let's get back to the video. Alrighty, we are headed into the Circulus here, and I've decided for the first portion of the demonstration I will use my Paragale with the blast rounds, and then I'll switch to the Neutralizer pretty quick into the video. I just wanted to show both to you guys. It's not a very like complicated playstyle by means, but it's, you know, I wanted to display it because I think it's fun. Alright, so let's see where enemies are going to spawn. We'll pop the evade first, pop a seek here, and we'll find our blast rounds, and we'll just get shooting, and these enemies will fall over. Again, playing Cyte after playing Avara was an admittedly depressing experience. Like, Cyte is just so good. I mean, like, look at the hello. Let's place another seek down. So yeah, if you guys like need this, if you wanted to see the synergy with what's it called? I don't have to aim very particularly strict because you know it's Paragale. Once I land my first headshot, I can kind of chain headshots off that. But if you guys aren't familiar with the synergy, these rounds can be amped with blast forever, as long as I'm landing headshots. This is like, I gotta make a video on this, I really do. But Paragale plus Cyte-09 is just so bonkers good. Forgive my aim, I promise it's good. When you have the Paragale with max amped out ammo efficiency, you just don't have to aim. I promise. I can aim, I promise. Okay. So yeah, so basically what I'm doing here, now granted, like, with a sniper frame, you'd think to yourself, like, oh, I probably want to, like, hard camp an area, and you can, totally. Depends on if you're playing with your fellow Tenno or not. I'm whipping it out. I'm whipping it out. Oh, I missed, that's fucking embarrassing. But it really depends on if you're playing with teammates or not. But generally, I like to move around at least a little bit. The thing with Cyte-09 is you kind of, again, it's the case of like the weakness of snipers in Warframe. Hello, can I aim like a human being? Rolling guard to save you from the electric Xmas that was right near me. But was I saying hello? Yeah, like Cyte-09 doesn't have to be mobile. Like in Warframe, one of the big weaknesses of snipers is that they're kind of like inherently clunky to move around and do looter shooter things with, which is a huge shame, right? But again, I could have never like thought of this, I don't think. When I think about Cyte-09, I think to myself, like, there's no way I am smart enough to think about, I also use Guardian, by the way, on my worm, to get my shields back up should they break somehow. But I never would have thought of like just perma wall hacks, wall penetration, like everywhere. That is basically how you make a sniper feel good to play in a game like Warframe. And it's why Cyte-09, which is weird, he's part of why I have so much faith in DE to like make good shit like that. Because like especially I think about the Hydra rework and whatnot, I think to myself, I'm like, this company can like problem solve their way out of like a titanium bag. Like it's actually so impressive. I'm aiming like an absolute dog right now, but anyways, Yeah, like, God, this is like my dream. I mean, I don't know. I played Warframe back. I was skipping school to farm Nakana Prime. Like, I've been playing this game for some time, and just seeing the things that I never thought would come to fruition is awesome. So yeah, so I mean, this playstyle isn't exactly complex. I really should be staying more in one area. Like, this area that I'm in is kind of ass. I'm gonna pull out my ceramic dagger real quick and dispose of this guy. Where are you? There you are. So yeah, as you can see, because I kept my evade up for a very long time, I was able to freely cast back into it. The cooldown is a bit unfortunate, but again, if you get, the goal is not to keep it up forever. You don't have to keep evade up forever. You do have to keep it up for at least around 40 seconds in the average build. So no big deal there. And yeah, this playstyle is nothing crazy. I should really find a better spot, but survival is just a bit of a funky game mode sometimes. There we go. There you go. And then, yeah, this is it. It's pretty simple. Again, if you want like really crazy range, you can have it, but as you can see, I'm able to just take out these enemies from wherever. Like, you might think to yourself, like, oh, you're kind of nerfing yourself by using the third scope. You really can't see. When you can shoot enemies from the distance that the third scope provides, I can assure you it is not a debuff. Hello, there we go. Okay. I can assure you, you actually do end up needing the third scope in option usually. So it's not just for crit damage. Oh, it's this little spot. Okay, here we go. Yeah, this is it. It's pretty simple. I wish there was more to show, but this is basically it. You're able to reload your rounds with resupply, which is nice. That opens up the ability to use a lot more variance in the weapons you decide to pick up, because you no longer, you know, you can compensate for, what do you call it? You can compensate for fire rate pretty easily in this game using Reinforced Bond. But reload speed's kind of difficult to come by. Like, make sure you recast your... I sometimes forget to recast my Seek. That's important that you don't forget to do that. But being able to instantly reload guns is just the sickest shit of all time. It feels great. Normally I make these demonstrations go about as long as I feel they need to go. My aim has been quite embarrassing, to be honest. Like, come on, dude. There we go. But yeah, hopefully this gives you a grasp of just how strong this... Like, look what I'm doing. Like, how can you be this enemy and, like... I will say this, I feel genuine, like, sadness towards the enemies that I kill in Warframe. Like, how unfair is this? Like, you clock into your job to go to the moon, and there's an invisible man in the walls shooting you through, like, 20 meters of concrete. Like, what are you supposed to do about that? How is that even, like, remotely fair? So, yeah, this is it. I mean, this isn't anything, like, too complex. Hopefully it makes sense. Obviously, when you're with your teammates, you know, they'll be using your resupply, and you'll be positioning a little bit better. This is kind of a chill spot, I'd say. Get enemies from multiple angles, so, like, we would put, like, a Seek right here, and right here. And we'd be able to kind of, maybe one here too, that's 3. And you're basically just like playing FNAF with where enemies are. And yeah, this is, I mean, reloading real quick, as you can see, I like rolling guard out of that real quick. I also had negate there as well. So I don't think negate is the most needed. I had a build where rolling guard was not equipped for a while, so that's why my worm is still there. But yeah, this is basically it. We're gonna head back to the conclusory bit. You guys have any questions, drop in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe, all that good stuff, and let's get out of here. And just to wrap her up, first of all, thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it, and we're back to my usual content. I just wanted to make that one video to thank you guys. Again, I appreciate you so much. Cyte-09 is genuinely one of my favorite frames in the game. A sniper frame I never, especially young me, never would have thought could exist in this game. He is just an absolute blast to play. If you have any questions, concerns, things that I missed, things that you enjoyed, please feel free to let me know. Thank you for watching. This frame is just great. So much good fun. Viable with more than just snipers, but really rewards you for playing him the way that I feel he was intended. So yeah, the Cyte is absolutely the shit, and you should really, I highly encourage that you give them a try. So, thank you guys for watching. So much love. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.